Welcome, 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 everybody.
Peace. Hotep, brother.
Tap Ma'at. Welcome to the Teachings of Ma'at, Stepping Out of the Matrix book study by the author Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. Today we will start everything out with our affirmation. If our good brother Scribe could put up our affirmation. On the count of three. One, two, three. Unki Ma'at, Un-N-S, Nintet Aset Ma'at, Menhepapet Ma'at, Her Nkukui, Per Iku. I live for Ma'at, I exist within her, I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our Stepping Out of the Matrix book study. I would first like to introduce our good brother Ahati Ma'at. Ahati Ma'at was taught under the great Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. He has been a serious student and teacher of Kemetic culture and history for several years. He has written multiple books, including the textbook called Journey of Your Soul series, essays, and articles. Furthermore, he hosts in person and online classes, weekly podcasts, and periodically creates documentaries. He also has experience in public speaking and academic debating, and he is responsible for the creation of this book study. Next, we have the Netta, formerly known as AJ. Netta, formerly known as AJ, specializes in training and educating youth workers, counselors, and education about arts, culture, and history. He travels the world to experience how people live, and he shares it with everyone who is interested in learning from the research he has witnessed. Art has a master's degree in entertainment and media business and has been working in the music industry and with nonprofit agencies providing program planning and promoting concerts and community events in Madison for over 30 years. During that time, he has facilitated the following innovative after school programs for Madison School Community Recreation, including Hip Hop 101, Music Production 101, and MP4 music programs for youth. He is also the secretary of this movement. Next, we have Tahuti Mos. Tahuti Mos is humbled at the opportunity to be at home in Ma'at with the guidance of Tahuti Amenhotep Ra, the Saba Saba. His quest for the truth, as they call it, has brought him to the facts. In this experience, he has learned and will continue to teach that everyone has the truth, but it is the facts in which the foundation of any one basis of decision should rest. This statement has increased his ability to find his place in the cosmos, and that place is here with you as a student of. His journey continues to be an interesting and exciting experience. It began in the truths of Catholicism, Christianity, and Hebrew religions. Realizing that these truths still left him with many unanswered questions and more confused, he continued his quest and found the facts in Ma'at through the teachings of Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. He is home, Tua, to the ancestors. His interest is first to his family and second to manipulating the matrix to his will. The rest is commentary. He is the ambassador of the teachings of Ma'at and hosts a weekly YouTube study group. His other interests include health and healing, investment vehicles, and teaching the facts of this wonderful existence. In closing, he is very excited to be on this journey with you all. Peace to this world through Ma'at. As students of Ma'at, we will continue to grow and learn together and be the best versions of ourselves on this earth as representatives of our ancestors. Hotep Ma'at. And I am Arcat Infinite, chairman of this organization. I'm also a student of the master teacher Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. I'm the host of this weekly book study, Teachings of Ma'at. I am a true-hearted follower of truth based on ancestral artifacts. I'm a lover of my people unconditionally and dedicated to Kemet and learning the Metal and loyal to Ma'at at all times. And our presenter for the night is the Scribe. The Scribe is a writer, poet, spoken word artist, audio producer, and engineer, healer, spiritual advisor, consultant, business creator. He is the master student of the Natiru, a true follower and protector of Ma'at. Scribe of Tahuti and Ma'at, he studies under the master teacher Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. For the scribe, quality always outweighs quantity. He enjoys observing reality and incorporating these observations into his writing and creations to assist in awakening dormant DNA and reversing of negative hypnosis. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
What's up, everybody?
Peace and love, brothers.
Peace and love. Hotel Ma'at. How you brothers doing?
Wonderful, brother. Wonderful. You got any announcements today before we start?
Yes, we do have an announcement. Let me go ahead and show this. Of course, we know who the consistent donator is, right?
Out to Nito Campbell.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to you, good brother.
Well, shout out to this good brother here, Nito Campbell, $14 for sacrifice, peace and love.
Peace.
To our Nito Campbell, definitely grateful for you, my brother, and your consistency. Appreciate you wholeheartedly. So if go ahead.
I have a couple announcements to make. First, I want to show our newsletter that's created by Arcad and the Scribe. They do a beautiful job. I know people have been requesting about the newsletter since the pod class, and here it is. You have to sign up, though. You have to make sure that you put your email into the website, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then you will get the free newsletter. And as you can see, it's the teachings of Ma'at. The movement begins with you. The book study breakdown and news. We put out a newsletter every week. And in it, you'll see the About Us. You'll see here are your leaders who support Tahuti. You'll see our mission, which is to bring back home to the minds of the Ma'at as many sisters, brothers, and their children as possible, and free melanated people from the Tamahu, which is the Caucasian matrix. And then we'll put in just a little brief paragraph or two of the recent speakers. So last week was Tahudimos, and you pointed out that the Bible in Greek means book. And if you want to learn more about what Tahudimos spoke about, which was very powerful, just subscribe to the newsletter. And we scroll down. The great Arcad Infinite is really stepped up to the plate. I am very impressed. This is all from the creative mind of Arcad Infinite. He creates the weekly illustrations here. And as we can see, Tahuti Moses' acronym for peace, which is patience, experience, environment, and consistent. And we'll always include a little meta netter in there for you too. And then I'm getting questions on how to become a member and what exactly can you do when you become a member. So right now, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for writers, editors, managers, digital designers, social media content creators, organizers for physical meetups. And if you have any skill or talent that we didn't list here, please let us know. And you can contact us at leadership@teachingsofma'at.org. It's contact leadership@teachingsofma'at.org. And then always, I want to thank the consistent donators. And once you start donating, your name will be shot out here on our shout out list. The Teachings of Ma'at supporters, we have Nito Campbell, we have Artisan Mon Hawkins, we have Truth Seeker 22, we have E Manifesto. The great website that that the Scribe has recently updated is right here on the screen. I'm only going to show you the homepage. This is the homepage just for time constraints. But we have a study guide Sunday Live tab where you can find our past study guides, and you can find the live stream too. We have a shop. We have Tahuti's podcast live where you can find all his backdated classes on YouTube. We have Meet the Movement where you can meet the individual leadership members. And we even have much more, which is a members only access where you get exclusive membership perks to Tahuti's teachings and others within the leadership group. We have a donate tab, and here's the contact us if you want to get the newsletter. So it's a beautiful site. You can also download the affirmation that Arcad reads in the beginning every class, and you can download that for free. We have a About Us section here. And you can subscribe here to Tahuti's podcast and the study guide Sundays right here just by pushing this tab here. And then you can what is this? Join the teachings, the members, and then here's where you enter your email address. You enter it right here in the box here. And when you sign up by becoming a subscriber to the mailing list, you will be kept up to date with upcoming live streams. So it's a very, very it's an awesome site, and I implore everybody to go out there and join us. Now, I want to show the Scribe. The great Scribe came out here this week. I don't know if you can see it. This is what we're doing. We're actually putting in work here. The Scribe dropped these off to me, these beautiful business cards. And on the back here, it's real simple. You just scan the QR code, and it takes you right to our website on your mobile phone. So you can always get in contact with us. There's no excuses. And then finally, when you become a member, you get a wallet size member card. So you have something physically to attach to, not just words on the screen. So you literally become part of Tahuti's movement. So I'll be updating people with more information as time goes by. And for now, that is it.
Wonderful, wonderful. If we will begin, Scribe, are you ready, good brother?
Yes, sir. Ready to go in. All right, let me share my screen to the book. All right, there we go. Can you brother see this?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Yes.
We are on the bottom of page 45 for those of you who want to read along, right at the start of the Septuagint. The Septuagint, or simply LXX, which is 70, is the name commonly given in the West to the ancient Koine Greek version of the Old Testament, translated in stages between the 3rd to the 1st century BC in Alexandria. It is the oldest of several ancient translations of the Hebrew Bible into Greek. The name means 70 and derives from a tradition that 72 Jewish scholars, LXX being the nearest round number, translated the Pentateuch or Torah from Hebrew into Greek for one of the Ptolemaic kings. So we'll be getting deeper into this right here. As the work of translation went on gradually and new books were added to the collection, the compass of the Greek Bible came to be somewhat indefinite. The Pentateuch always maintained its preeminence as the basis of the canon, but the prophetic collection changed its aspects by having various hagiographa incorporated into it. Some of the newer works, those called the Anagignoskomena in Greek, are not included in the Hebrew canon. Among these books are the Book of Maccabees and the Wisdom of Ben Sira. Also, the LXX 70 version of some works like Daniel and Esther are longer than the Hebrew. Several of the later books apparently were composed in Greek, as we can see the oldest Bible dates back around 200 BC in Alexandria. And they kept adding to it, which means that there never was a concrete Bible. So the Bible, of course, is just a compilation of books created over time. What is interesting that I must keep stressing is there is no account in ancient Africa of such a book or scrolls ever existing. These books were composed under Grecian authority 500 years after the Greeks spent much time in Kemet. Now it's said, and new books were added to the collection. Yet as Christians, we were always taught that the Bible is a holy book, right? It's the holy book, singular, as if it was or has been completed and now we hold the finished word of God in our hands. Is this a true statement, even according to the Bible itself? I don't know. If we actually take a look into the pages of our very own Bible, we shall see that this is not the case at all. Let's take a look. So here's some missing books in the Bible. So which Bible is the real word of God? The Book of Covenant, Exodus 24:7. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord hath said will we do, and be obedient. There are those that believe the book of the covenant is found in Exodus chapters 20 through 23, but there are no authoritative sources for this text. The book of wars of the Lord, Numbers 21:14. Wherefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, what he did in the Red Sea and in the brooks of Arnon. The book of Jasher, Joshua 10:13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is it not written in this book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. 2 Samuel 1:18. Also, he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. The manner of the kingdom, the book of statutes. 1 Samuel 10:25. Then Samuel told the people the manner of the kingdom and wrote it in a book and laid it up before the Lord. And Samuel sent all the people away, every man to his house. So the book of Samuel the seer, 1 Chronicles 29:29, which is also here Nathan the prophet. Now the acts of David the king, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Samuel the seer, and in the book of Nathan the prophet, and in the book of Gad the seer. So, you know, which one of these is the actual word of God? All right. 2 Chronicles 9:29. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon, first and last, are they not written in the book of Nathan the prophet, and in the prophecy of Ahijah the Shilonite, and in the visions of the Edo the seer against Jeroboam the son of Nebat? Acts of Solomon, 1 Kings 11:41. And the rest of the acts of Solomon and all that he did and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the Acts of Solomon? So we got Shemaiah the prophet, which is 2 Chronicles 12:15. Now the acts of the Rehoboam, first and last, are they not written in the book of the Shemaiah the prophet and of Edo the seer concerning genealogies? And there were wars between the Rehoboam and the Jeroboam continually. The prophecy of Abijah, which goes back to 2 Chronicles 9:29. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon, first and last, are they not written in the book of Nathan the prophet and the prophet of Ahijah the Shilonite, and in the visions of Edo the seers against Jeroboam the son of Nebat? The story of prophet Edo, 2 Chronicles 13:22. And the rest of the acts of Abijah and his ways and his sayings are written in the story of the prophet Edo, the visions of Edo the seer. So we're seeing multiple books here written, right? So this goes back to the 2 Chronicles 9:29. So won't read that again. The Edo genealogies, 2 Chronicles 12:15, which goes back to, right, the genealogies, right? Edo the seer concerning the genealogies, and there were wars between the Rehoboam and the Jeroboam continually. The book of Jehu, 2 Chronicles 20 and 34. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Jehu, the son of Hanani, who is mentioned in the book of the kings of Israel. Sayings of the seers, 2 Chronicles 33:19. His prayer also, and how God was entreated of him, and all his sins, and his trespass, and the places wherein he built high places, and set up grooves and graven images before he was humbled. Behold, they are written among the saying of the seers. Book of Gad the seer, 1 Chronicles 29:29. Now the acts of David the king, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Samuel the seer, and in the book of Nathan the prophet, and in the book of Gad the seer. The epistle from Laodicea to the Colossians, the missing, Colossians 4:16. And when this apostle or epistle is read among you, cause that it be read also in the church of the Laodiceans, and that ye likewise read the epistle from the Laodicea. The Acts of Uzziah, 2 Chronicles 26:22. Now the rest of the acts of Uzziah, first and last, did Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, write. The Annals of King David, 1 Chronicles 27:24. Joab, son of Zuriah, began to count the men, but did not finish. Wrath came on Israel on account of this numbering, and the number was not entered in the book of the Annals of King David. So there seems to be over 15 books missing in the common Bible that Christians hold in their hand and swear by. Now, I thought the Bible, the word of God, was protected, and that is why it cannot be tampered with. Obviously not. Like any other book or script, it seems entire books can be lost, thus not making it protected by any God. Thus, Christians and Bible readers do not have the complete story, and their scrolls can be lost as any other ancient writings, right? So that's very important. You know, if we read any book, we want to be able to read the entire story. You know, you don't want to just be able to read part of a book and not get the complete story. And especially if that's something you're going to live by, you want to be able to at least have the complete story to make your decision. This is not only answers the above question as to how was it possible for the Council of Alexandria to continually add to the Septuagint, but now opens up another uncomfortable question. Did they add or create anything and place it in the Bible? And if so, cannot this change and redirect and even recreate what our concept of God is? Right? That's very important. The answer is yes, yes, and yes. Of course it can. What I feel my duty is upon this earth is the short time I have to experience this plane is to deconstruct the matrix. In doing so, it is necessary to destroy all misconceptions that have been enforced upon the now and ever so believing in the minds of our people. So let me begin right here by saying what you are about to read will have a heavy and threatening impact on your present belief system, but it is necessary to shake and test our present ground that we stand on for our foundation in order to see if it is sturdy enough to stand to the test of time. We shall now take an interesting journey through time and see how exactly the concepts of God and Jesus came about, or rather were mutated to create the Bible we see and read today, created by the same Alexandrians that I have shown actually were the compilers of this book. This is 653 years before the Council of Nicaea, which is the more popularized and taught original source of the Bible. Let's look at this picture. So who is this? Well, Jesus, of course, right? As he has been depicted in several churches and religious leaflets for thousands of years, right? This is our good brother Jesus. But who created this image, and why has it been so popularized as the normal? What is it about this image that has its perpetuation so accepted? Why, of all the images that could have been created in this one, universally accepted? Think about that. Ponder on that for a moment. Why is it that if you were to take this picture to almost anyone, they would automatically say, that's my Jesus right there, or at least, yeah, that's Jesus. Well, let's take us back to the exact same council, the Alexandrian Council and their predecessors. If this was an Alexandrian council, right, that put the Bible together, then what is rather clear is that these people who were interested in creating a Bible also worshipped, or to say the least, revered Alexander. The question that arises, who is this Alexander that this council of Christians that put the Septuagint together would respect so much that they would have their council named after such a man? And remember, history said this. They said that the Septuagint was translated, the Pentateuch or Torah, from the Hebrew into Greek for one of the Ptolemaic kings. So this is the narrative that was put out there and taught. So we must ask again, who is Alexander and who is Ptolemy? Alexander III of Macedon, 356 to 323 BC, right? In which we know that he took over Kemet in 332 BCE, better known to history as Alexander the Great, spent several months in Egypt as part of his ongoing campaign against the mighty Persian Empire of Darius III. After conquering Persia's naval bases all along the coastline of Asia Minor and Syria, Palestine, Alexander marched south into Egypt, where he remained for some 6 months. Passing by the ancient religious site of Heliopolis, the Inu, with its vast white temples and obelisks, Egypt made an enormous oppression on both the Macedonian troops and their 24-year-old leader. Brought up with his formidable mother Olympias, tales of Egyptian gods, the religiously minded Alexander was completely dumbstruck in a land so steeped in ritual, where priests held enormous power, wielded inside temples not built to human scale. Passing by the great pyramids of Giza, still gleaming in their shining white limestone, he finally reached Memphis to a genuinely rapturous reception. Anointed as Pharaoh in Memphis on November 14th in 332 BCE, the culmination of his coronation was the climactic moment when the high priest named him Son of the Gods. According to traditions dating back almost 3,000 years, the title deeply affected him, and Olympias references to him being the son of Zeus. That's very important. Filled his mind indeed. There were even scenes of the king of the gods Amun, who they compared as Zeus. So Amun and Zeus were the same to them. Impregnating selected queens with the heir to the throne in a world where the gods were perceived as living entities and were considered a part of everyday life. Alexander must now have begun to believe in his own divinity as a fact rather than a simple exercise of propaganda. So Alexander definitely believed that he was the son of Amun and the son of Zeus. Alexander had no difficulty worshiping the Egyptian deities, equating their gods with his own. He worshipped the Egyptian Amun as a form of Zeus. At the Memphite necropolis of Saqqara, the new pharaoh offered sacrifices to the Apis bull, cult animal of the creator god Ptah, followed by Greek-style games and literary contests in which performers from all over the Greek world took part in a multicultural extravaganza. So I'll stop there with the reading, and I'll stop sharing my screen. All right, so yeah, it was a lot of information there. So we started with the Septuagint and knowing that, this is where these biblical stories come from. So I'll get into my presentation, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with showing what the Hebrews attribute to their oldest writings, right? So can you brothers see this here?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, so this is the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? When you ask any Hebrew what their oldest writings will date to, or what their oldest writings are, they'll lead you to the Dead Sea Scrolls. So the Dead Sea Scrolls are ancient manuscripts that were discovered between 1947 and 1956 in 11 caves near the Khirbet Qumran on the northwestern shores of the Dead Sea. They are approximately 2,000 years old, dating from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE. Most of the scrolls were written in Hebrew with a smaller number in Aramaic or Greek. Most of them are written on parchment, with the exception of a few written on papyrus. The vast majority of the scrolls survived as fragments. Only a handful were found intact. Nevertheless, scholars have managed to reconstruct these fragments, approximately 950 different manuscripts of various lengths. So this right here is in the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. So this right here is the Great Isaiah Scroll, right? And here's the link to this. Move this out the way. The Great Isaiah Scroll is one of the original 7 Dead Sea Scrolls discovered in Qumran in 1947. Let me see if I can. All right, perfect. It is the largest and best preserved of all the biblical scrolls and the one that is almost complete. The 54 columns contained all 66 chapters of the Hebrew version of the biblical book of Isaiah, dating from circa 125 BCE. Right? It is also one of the oldest of the Dead Sea Scrolls, some 1,000 years earlier, 1,000 years older than the oldest manuscripts of the Hebrew Bible known to us before the scroll's discovery. So this right here is the papyrus, different papyruses of the Septuagint. So some of the oldest Septuagint that we have, and I put different sections here for you and the different sources of where you can reach these. So the 8 fragments right here, the Greek P458, the 8 fragments identified by the letters A through H from a papyrus roll of Deuteronomy, the earliest biblical fragment in the John Rylands Library among the earliest pre-Christian evidence for the text of any part of the Old Testament, right? So this dates back to the 2nd century BCE. So when we look at the Septuagint here, when we look at the Septuagint in the etymology, the Greek version of the Old Testament, the 1630s, earlier as the word for the translators collectively, 1570s, from late Latin Septuaginta interpretes, the 70 interpreters, from Latin Septuaginta, 70, translating Greek, the hebdo im kanta, from septim, 7, right? So 7. So this is the etymology of Septuagint, right? The 7, the 70, the 72, right? So the origin of the Septuagint, according to tradition, the Septuagint version is first mentioned in a letter of Aristides to his brother Philocrates. Here in substance is what we read of the origin of the version. Ptolemy II Philadelphus, the king of Egypt, 284 to 247, had recently established a valuable library at Alexandria. He persuaded by Demetrius of Phalerum, the chief librarian, to enrich it with a copy of the sacred books of the Jews. To win the good graces of this people, Ptolemy, by the advice of Aristides, an officer of the royal guard, an Egyptian by birth and a pagan by religion, emancipated 100,000 slaves in different parts of his kingdom. Right? He then sent delegates among the embassy, he then sent delegates among whom was Aristides to Jerusalem to ask Eleazar, the Jewish high priest, to provide him a copy of the law and the Jews capable of translating it into Greek. So this was the purpose of the Septuagint. You know, the leader of the overseer of the library at Alexandria, you know, he persuaded the Ptolemy II, the king, that hey, we need to get these Hebrew writings in our language. You know, we need to get them in the Greek. You know, so this is him persuading the king to send out to go get some 72 Israelites right here. Sent him 72 Israelites, 6 from each tribe, were deputed to go into Egypt and carry out the wish of the king. Right. So that's the story behind the Septuagint, and we're going to get a little bit deeper into that. So here's some different papyruses for you to look up, right? The Tetragrammaton. This papyrus found in Egypt is dated to the 1st century BC, and it's the 2nd oldest manuscript of the Septuagint. It is the oldest manuscript that, in the midst of the Greek text, uses the Hebrew Tetragrammaton, an Aramaic square or Ashuri script. Some have argued that originally the Greek text rendered the divine name Yahweh, but by the Tetragrammaton, others that the text in the manuscript is the result of Hebraizing revision of the original Greek text. Right. So now we're going to get into this right here is where one of the oldest Septuagints in the Greek is located. It's in this book right here in the Vatican City, Biblioteca Apostolica Vaticana, of course, in the Vatican. The approximate date is the 11th century CE. Right. So this is where this right here is the Septuagint, the letter of Aristes in the Greek. And here's some interesting images that came from this book right here that I thought was interesting, and that I've never seen before. So I figured I put it on here for others to check out. Here's Noah, in his boat. His it's the rainbow, showing, hey, God's not going to flood the earth again. We even got Adam and Eve right here covering themselves up. Oh no, we're naked. Got to cover up. You see the hand of God coming from the sky and shooting some energy at them, right? So this right here is the letter of Aristes. This is what we was just reading about. The letter of Aristes to Philocrates, in a Hellenistic work of the 3rd or early 2nd century BC, considered by some biblical scholars to be pseudepigraphical. The letter is the earliest text to mention the Library of Alexander. So that's important too. So we've heard this word a lot, pseudo, right? The pseudepigraphical, the letter of Aristes. Josephus, who paraphrases about 2/5 of the letter, ascribes it to Aristes of Marmara and to have been written to certain Philocrates. The letter describes the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible by 72 interpreters sent into Egypt from Jerusalem at the request of the librarian of Alexandria, resulting in the Septuagint translation. All right, this is important because in this story, they continue to keep saying translation. But when we get into what this actually says, we'll learn and realize that it's not a translation at all. Some scholars have since argued that it is fictitious, right? Pseudepigrapha, books or writing of false authorship. 1620s implied in pseudepigraphical, especially of spurious writing professing to the biblical in character and inspired in authorship from modern Latin use of Greek neuter plural of pseudepigraphos with a false title from pseudos, a lie. Right? So let's get into this a little bit. So here in the letter of Aristes, this is in this actual book, the letter of Aristes. So this is where it comes from. The origin of the scheme and preliminary proceedings, right? Page 23. Demetrius of Phalerum, as keeper of the king's library, received large grants of public money with a view to his collecting, if possible, all the books in the world. And by purchases and transcriptions, he, to the best of his ability, carried the king's purpose in execution. Being asked once in my presence about how many thousands of books were already collected, he replied, more than 200,000, O king. We have more than 200,000 books already. And I will ere long make diligent search for the remainder, so that a total of 500,000 may be reached. I am informed that the Jews have certain laws which are deserving of transcription and a place in thy library. What is it to hinder thee then, replied the king, in this task? For all the necessary means are they thy at service. And Demetrius answered, translation is also required. For the Jews' land, they use a peculiar script, just as Egyptians have their system of letters and speak a peculiar language. It is commonly thought that they use the Syrian language, but this is an error. It is another dialect. And when the king had learned all the facts, he gave command that a letter should be written to the high priest of the Jews in order that the proposal above mentioned might be carried into effect. Right? So let's go over here. On a former occasion too, I sent thee a description of matters in my opinion worthy of record concerning the Jewish nation, which I obtained from the high priest, the most learned body in that most learned land of Egypt. So here in this letter, we see them giving credence to who? Of course, Kemet, the most learned body in the most learned land. So there's a specific reason why they did that, to start off early, right? Page 22 in this letter, because later, they kind of contradict that. And well, I wouldn't say they contradict it. What they do is they show that the Kemetians, the Egyptians, are the most learned. So, what they say has to hold some type of power in this letter. What they say, they said, right? So here, Again, it happened to King Ptolemy that he assembled 70 elders and placed them in 70 cells and did not make known to them wherefore he had assembled them. But he came into each of them in turn and said to them, write me out the law of Moses, your master. God put counsel into the heart of every one of them, and they were all of one mind, and they wrote out for him the law by itself. But they altered 13 passages in it, and they are these. God created in the beginning, and God said, I will make man in image and in likeness. And he finished on the 6th day and rested on the 7th. Male and female created him. Go to, let me go down, and there confound their language. And see, this is on page 91. So you can go to this book and you can read this. And as you can see, you know, these are, so they're saying that, hey, we're going to get 72 elders. Well, 70, but it's really 72, 70 elders. And we're going to place them in 70 separate cells. And what I need for you guys to do is I need you to connect with God, and I need you to write the laws in Greek for us, right? So we can see here that this isn't a translation at all. You know, they're not copying from the previous Hebrew written text. They're literally getting it from God, because God put counsel into their heart, and every one of them, they were all of one mind, and they wrote out for him the law by itself. All right, so let's go down here. For the reason the priest who led the Egyptians have closely investigated many things and been conversant with the world, call us men of God, a designation which does not belong to the rest of mankind, but to him only who reverences the true God. So now it makes sense as to why they would, you know, let it be known, hey, I obtained this from the high priest, the most learned body in that most learned land of Egypt. You know, they're the most learned. So when they say, hey, call us, the Greeks, the men of God, right? A designation which does not belong to the rest of mankind. You know, so that shows that, hey, this is what the Egyptians are calling us. They're calling us men of God that don't belong to no one else. That just belong to us, but him who only reverences the true God, right? So we know that that's completely false, right? So here we have, they named what the 72 Hebrews, or excuse me, you know, I don't want to say the word too much, but here's an image of them. Here's supposedly an image of the 72 being collected, you know, coming to the king right here. And this is in that same book that I just showed earlier, the same Bible, the Septuagint right here, because it has the letter of Aristes in the beginning before it gets to the Septuagint. So here's some images that I placed in there for us to give us a visual representation. So the LXX 70 Septuagint. So why is it called this, right? So we already see here that they assembled 70 elders and placed them in 70 cells. Right, here's another one. He presented also towards the construction of bowls and vials and a table and cups for libation, 50 talents weight of gold and 70 talents of silver. Right. Upon its crest stood the temple in splendor, with its 3 enclosing walls more than 70 cubits high. You know, so we'll see this 70 all throughout here. Right, the 72 persons. He received his reply graciously and asked the 11th, for their number exceeded 70 by 2, right? And they got this revelation from God, and it took them, how long did it take them to write out the Greek, right? And so it came about that the translation was accomplished in 72 days, as though this coincidence has been intended, right? So this is the letter of Aristes, and this is why they say the Septuagint was, of course, translated into the Greek, you know. So we're going to get into some of the oldest Hebrew Bibles, some of the oldest Septuagints, and just get a good visual representation of them and the names of them, you know, so you can look these things up yourself. So this is the Aleppo Codex. The Aleppo Codex is a medieval manuscript of the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, associated with Rabbi Aaron ben Asher. The Masoretic scholars wrote it in early 10th century, probably in Tiberias, Israel. It is in book form, contains the vowel points and grammar points, the nikudat, that specify the pronunciation of the ancient Hebrew letters to preserve the chanting tradition. It is perhaps the most historically important Hebrew manuscript in existence. Of its original 487 pages, 193 disappeared between 1947 and 1958. Some people ran up in there and took some pages up out of this thing here. So the Aleppo Codex, considered the most accurate manuscript, was written in Tiberias in the 10th century CE. So, you know, we always got to pay attention to these dates here, right? 10th century CE. The Codex Sinaiticus. The Sinai Bible is a 4th century Christian manuscript of a Greek Bible containing the majority of the Greek Old Testament and the Greek New Testament written in uncial letters or on parchment. It is one of the 4 great uncial codices, right? So this is mid-4th century writing of, we can see the Greek writing here, right? Held by the British Library. Created 2nd quarter of the 4th century to the 3rd quarter of the 4th century. We're going to run through these. The Codex Vaticanus, right? Here's another one. Date 4th century CE, right? These are some of the oldest writings that, you know, we have. And of course, I showed you the papyrus earlier that dates back to the 3rd century BCE. They got certain fragments here and there, but these are more of the full text, the full writings that we have, right? So the Codex Vaticanus is a 4th century Christian manuscript of a Greek Bible containing the majority of the Greek Old Testament and a majority of the Greek New Testament, right? So like I'm showing you the 4 major ones. So this is the Retigenesis Gracius 1. This is the first and only extant volume of what was originally a 2-volume set containing the entire Bible in Greek. It was produced in the first half of the 10th century and contains the books Genesis through Psalms. It makes a modest textual contribution to the Septuagint, where its text is generally similar to that of the Codex Vaticanus, which is what I just showed. But it is famous mainly for its splendid miniatures, which have been separated from the main volume, given their own shelf mark. Though the folio numbers reflect the positions in the original manuscript, a prefatory poem indicates that the volume was commissioned by one Leo Patrocius, and it is consequently sometimes referred to as the Bible of Leo the Patrician or simply the Leo Bible. So 10th century Greek Bible here. And this is what some also say is the oldest complete Bible that deal with images and the writing. So this is the Garima Gospels. The Garima Gospels are named after a monk, Abba Garima, who arrived in Ethiopia in 494 from Constantinople. So this is the Ethiopian Bible. You hear people say, well, the oldest Bible is in Ethiopia. So this is the Bible that they're talking about, with pictures of these fellows in here. This is a happy looking brother right here. Legend says he copied the Gospels in just one day. So let's listen to this. The legend says that the monk Abba Garima copied the Gospels in just one day because God delayed the sun from setting so the monk could finish his work. The incredible relic has been kept ever since in the Garima Monastery near Adwa in northern Ethiopia at 7,000 feet. The Garima Gospels are dated somewhere in between the years 330 and 650 CE. Right? Whew, this is getting a little weird here. So here's the Nash Papyrus. The Nash Papyrus is a 2nd century BCE fragment containing the text of what they call the 10 Commandments. Prior to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is the first thing that I showed in this presentation, this was the oldest known manuscript containing a text from the Hebrew Bible. The manuscript was originally identified as a lectionary used in liturgical context due to the juxtaposition of the Decalogue probably reflecting a mixed tradition, a composite of Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5. Right. So I just want to put this in here to show you and give you visual representations of some of the oldest writings that we have in the Greek and in what they call the Hebrew. So which book is the true word of God? So we have the Christian Bible, the King James Bible, which has 66 books. And here's the Catholicism. Here's the Bible for the Catholics. And they have more books than, the King James Bible. They have 73 books. And here with the Garama Gospels, the Ethiopian Bible has 84 books. So which book is the true word of God, right? The Jews are probably the earliest community that had a Bible. Most Jewish Bibles contain 39 books, but the earliest versions included somewhere between 5 and 22 books. The Ethiopian Bible, which is perhaps the oldest Christian Bible, includes somewhere between 81 to 84 books. Who took these books out? Depending on different factors, the Roman Catholic Bible has 73 books, and the Greek Orthodox Bible, without an official number, is somewhat larger, with somewhere between 75 and 79 books. The Syriac Bible also has quite a wide range of different books, and the Protestant Bible, which in some ways American culture prioritizes, has 66 books, 39 of an Old Testament and 27 of the New Testament. If one would total all the books in these different collections, there would be a total of around 100 books, far more than 27 of the Christian New Testament and the range of 5 to 39 books in the Hebrew Bible. So if we're going to take something and we're going to be reading a book and we're going to be basing our life on it, if we're going to be basing our soul's journey on it, I know for me personally, I would want to know, what are these other books that are missing? If you're following and you're studying the King James Bible, what's up with these other books that are taken out of there? So who determined that these books were not the word of God as well? So it's just a good question to ask. So I have a question here for the chat room and who's all watching, and for later on. So who has seen the earliest archaeological depiction of what could possibly be Jesus and the crucifixion? If anyone has seen the oldest archaeological depiction of Jesus and the crucifixion, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. If you have not seen this, put a 2. I want to know who's already seen this. So let's see who has looked this up. Let's see who has looked this up here. If you have seen it, put a 1. If you haven't seen it, put a 2. We're gonna have some fun here. All right, let's see. Yes, most definitely more Harry Potter. It's a lot of Harry Potter going on here. There's a lot of Harry Potter going on here. 2, okay. 2, we see some 2s here. All right. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Whoa. What is this here? What is this? No, this got to be a joke, right? This got to be a joke, right? No, this is not a joke. This is very serious. This is called the Alexamenos Graffito, which dates back to the 1st century. Right? Here's a drawing of it, right? So as we see matter of fact, let's go into it. Here it is right here. This is the Alexamenos Graffito. It is a satirical representation of Christian worship depicting a man worshiping a crucified donkey. The inscription reads, Alexamenos respects his God. This is what this says in Greek right here. This is Rome, circa 85 to the 3rd century CE in Palestine Hill in Rome. Right, so this right here is the oldest image that we have of Jesus. That's amazing, right? That's amazing, right? That's wild. So, let's just keep it moving. When a Christian tells you to search for God, okay, let me search. This is what happens when I search for God. This is what I see. This is what comes up. You know, type in God, let's search for him. Hey, okay, we see this. We see these guys. Who are these? Hey, we even see this guy right here, Mr. Musk. You know, see it? All right. Some nice images here. Some Tamahu men. Nice. All right. So let's look and see. This is what I see right here. You know, so all these people right here look like they could be brothers to me. They all look the same, right? If we look at this, here we got the Trinity. You know, we got 3 men. You know, here's 3 Trinity of a men right here. You know, here's this guy. Looks like this guy. Looks like this guy. They all look like they could be twin brothers to me, right? Here's the God of the Bible. Here's a fellow named Jesus. We're gonna get to him a little later. You know, this is so all the people who's still looking for Jesus to come back. He's already here, and I'm gonna show you exactly where he is. You know, so you don't have to look no more. He is here in the flesh, incarnated, right? So look, I mean, same faces, right? Same faces. These guys all look like they're twin brothers. Either one of them can play either role. You know, who's who, right? Who's who? If we didn't have this right here, who would this be? You know, you could say it's God, Moses. You know, never know. Here's Noah over here. They all look the same. Here's some miniature Jesuses here. All right, that guy looks like that guy. You know, these all look like complete brothers to me. You know, they look all the same. I don't know about y'all, but look, looks like him. Moses could be Noah, could be Moses, could be Zeus, right? Could be God, the creator, right? Here's this guy right here. Here's this guy. Here's another guy. Let's go back here. So I don't want to skip this. I got to show this right here. So this guy right here, near Brasilia, in Brazil, the followers of Enri, the Jesus Nazarenus Rex Eudormium, Jesus of Nazareth. This is Jesus of Nazareth right here. King of the Jews. They pushed their Messiah around on a rolling pedestal. A dozen disciples, most of them women, live full time with the celibate 69-year-old in his walled compound, which is protected with barbed wire and the electrical fencing. Enri takes his name from the initials that Pontius Pilate inscribed on Christ's cross. His awakening came in 1979. So for all of those of you who are, you know, waiting for Jesus to come back, you can stop waiting because he's here in Brazil and you can go be a part of his monastery right now. So here is Zeus, as we've seen in the letter of Aristes, right? Here it is right here. For the God who sees and created all things, whom they worship is he, whom all men worship. We too, O king, though we address him by other names as Zeus and Dis, and by these names they of old time not inappropriately signified that he, through whom all things receive their life and being, is the director and Lord of all. So this is the Greeks' Lord of all, right? Zeus. So it's no coincidence why all the biblical characters look like this fellow here and look like these people, the Greeks. Outdo then all men in magnanimity and set all liberty to those who held in bondage, right? So here we got their father who they worship, Zeus, right? So when we take Zeus, and who did they say was equivalent to Zeus in Kemet, right? Amun, Amen, right? So here's Amen. I don't know if it's like night and day, right? So Amen. So we see the great Kemetian Neter, Amun, right here, right? The ram head, right? We see him here. So when we take this guy here and we take this guy here, they come in, right? And they combine them and they make them one. So who did they come up with? They come up with Zeus Amen, Zeus Amun. So they put the horns of Amun on Zeus because, of course, Alexander the Great worshiped the Kemetians, the Neteru, just as equivalent as they did the Greeks, right? So here is an image of Alexander with his Amun horns, because he, as earlier stated, that he is the son of Zeus and he is also the son of Amun, right? So here's some depictions of him. And because we know that Alexander the Greek became initiated as pharaoh in Kemet in 332 BCE, he took Kemet more serious than most people who study Kemet. This brother took on the names, right? What's one of his names right here? Septepen Re Mary Amun, chosen by Ra, beloved by Amun. Yeah, this is getting even weirder. So let's keep going. Let's show a little bit about Alexander the Greek here. Right, so this is he was crowned pharaoh in the Luxor temple, the East Bank Valley of the Nile of Egypt. So we know he worshipped Zeus and the Greeks, but when he came into Kemet, right, what happened? While he was out pillaging and destroying everything everywhere else, everywhere he landed, destroying everything. Here we see on this wall that he literally was giving reverence and praise and adoration to Amun, because he believed and felt that he was the chosen son of Amun, right? So here's these images here that's on this wall, right? I put up the front version so we can get clear versions of it. So as we can see here, here's his what they call the cartouche, but this is a shin. So we can see here that this is his name, the Alexandros, right? The ALKSINDRX, Alexandros, right? So this is how we know that this is Alexander, right? He always put both his shins here. Alexandros, chosen by Ra, beloved of Amun, right? So this is how we know, and this is in all his depictions. So, this is Alexander the Greek right here, giving adoration to Ra, right? Here's Min, Amen. Here's Min, right? So we see what he was worshiping and what he was giving his adoration to when he came into Kemet, because he understood and he knew where the real truth is, and he decided to mix the two and decided to flip and reverse it. And that's why they put the Septuagint together, to be able to lead people astray and lead them only to the Greek sources. But they knew what the truth was, right? This is their leader, right? This is their leader. This is their leader, giving adoration and praise to the Neteru, right? Alexander and Min, all right? It's all over the walls. This ain't just 1, 2, it's all over. He took it very serious. So if he took it this serious and they decided to implement what they did with the Septuagint and bringing that forward and causing this narrative for our people to follow this, if he brought this forward, what was he doing? Right? That's always the question we got to ask. If someone gives something to you, what are they doing? Right? So here's some statues of him in the natural Kemetic Nasut pharaoh stance, right? With the left foot forward, to represent leading with the Ebe, the heart. Alexander III of Macedonia. This is in the Cairo Museum. This is in the Lybigas Museum. I'm sure I butchered that name, but that ain't my language. Here we have the Alexandros right here. And we have more images here of him showing why he wasn't just, they didn't just say he was a pharaoh. And when he wasn't just to call in the suit, he took it serious. He lived it. He implemented himself in here, and here's his 5 names, because every Nasut gets 5 names, right? So he took it very serious, protector of Kemet, right? The Mak Kemet. So how is this? The brave ruler who attacked foreign lands. You know, he definitely did that. The ruler of the rulers of the entire land, the sturdy armed one, Tajem Ma'ah. All right. Here's the chosen by Ra, beloved by Amun. Is Alexandros, his born name, the sun, the Sa, the lion, the great of might, who takes possessions of mountains, lands, and deserts. Right. The Ka, Nak, Kui, Baket, Heka, Wajwer, Shenu, in Aten. The strong bull who protects Egypt. So the ruler of the sea and of the sun and of what the sun encircles. So we see Alexander here saying that he's the protector of Kemet, saying that he is the one who's here to protect and show adoration to the Neteru, right? So why was this left out? You know, why do most people, when they think of Alexander, of course, it's going to go to the Greek, but what was he doing when he came into Kemet? This is what he was doing. And this is what started to facilitate the Septuagint. And they took these concepts. So they understood, they knew our language. They could read our writings. They had our scrolls. They had our papyruses. They had all this information. So now it makes total sense as to how and why the Septuagint was created by these 72 scholars. And you know, if we know that 72 is the number of Tahuti, and if anybody want to ask that question, you know, you can send that into the podcast of Tahuti's podcast and ask why 72 is his number. But it all correlates, and it's not, you know, done by accident. It's definitely all on purpose and very calculated, very, very, very calculated. So I will end there and I'll stop sharing my screen. And so, yeah, I just wanted to bring forth and show, you know, some of these oldest texts and physically show them and show the dates of these texts so we can understand and start to recognize, like, okay, if Alexander the Greek came into Kemet in 332 BCE, but the oldest text that we can find of the Septuagint, 2nd century BCE, the Hebrew text, the Dead Sea Scrolls, this is all after Alexander came into Kemet, after they had access to all of our information, all of our knowledge. This is all after, you know. What were they doing when they were there? They were doing the rituals. So this is very powerful and very deep to help us start to break this spell of understanding, like, look, the ones who gave us the Bible weren't living by that. And when they were, it was definitely in a controlled fashion to be able to manipulate the minds of the people, you know. So let's make our images look like us. You know, that's why all the biblical characters look like Greeks, because they are. You know, so I just want to end there and, you know, say Hotep Ma'at to the chat, and, you know, thank you for your attention, for, you know, listening. I hope you were taking notes so you can go back in and do some of this research yourself, you know. So peace and love, and yeah, I'll stop there. So RK Infinite, if you want to pick up, my brother, peace and light to you.
Peace, peace, peace. Hotep, that was a wonderful wonderful breakdown, brother. Wonderful, wonderful, man. You are definitely inspiring us and setting the bar. You guys see that? And so to answer Tahuti's question when he said, is there anybody else out there? Yeah, he is creating them. The young scribe of Tahuti. Yes, we have his students out there coming up, man. That was wonderful, brother. Yeah, it's you know, when you think about it, all the books that was taken out of the Bible, you know, there's over 16 books that he said in that book that were removed from it. The book of Joshua, I never even heard of some of those books, brother. It's like, it's crazy, because those religions was put there to keep us slaves, man, to manipulate us, to trick us, you know, but they know, they have the knowledge, they have the information, and they just use it, and they just use it against us. You know what I mean? What is it about us that they know that we don't know? You know, because they got the information. It's out there, brother. Look at them books. The I can't even pronounce the names of those books that you was putting up, brother. Where did you get those links from? The when you were showing the archives of the books of the old Septuagint. You
You're
muted,
on
brother.
mute. You're on mute, Scribe.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got them from a few different links. Some of them are in the Vatican. Their website, they have archives of a lot of their books, so you can go in there and pull them up and read
Y'all
them.
hear that in the chat, everybody? This brother went to the Vatican's website in his research.
Mhm.
This is what Tahuti is creating. This is the mindset that this brother out here is creating, and the scholarship that he is creating and pushing the bar and setting the bar for us to expand and grow. But with that, brother, I'm gonna pass the mic to AJ or Tahuti Most and let one of you brothers speak.
I could go next. Peace, respect, um, adoration to you, Scribe. I felt the love, that the dedication that our Saba Tahuti has for this knowledge. I see that you are a natural in that. And you are a vibrational match to Saba Tahuti. And law of attraction is a comedic concept. So we have to realize that we are what we are. And I wrote a few things while you were teaching that I felt like in my whole being. And so these are a few things that I wrote. What is worthy of our soul's journey, right? So this teaching that we get from Saba Tahuti and Ahati Ma'at and the netters of Kemet and Ma'at, that is what is worthy of our soul's journey. Stop wasting your time on things that are not worthy of our soul. And then I love that Tahuti is a writer, Ahati is a writer. I think Arcad is a writer as well. So here's the question that I have for everyone in the chat and all of us on this panel. Where is your book of magic? Because we know that the netters of Kemet and Ma'at and our ancestors were in alignment with the magic of this universe. And I know Scribe is a writer, he's a poet, he's a scribe, he is writing his book of magic. Ahati has a book, he is writing his book of magic. We have a responsibility to write our books of magic, because the Tamahu, they're writing their books of magic for all the wrong reasons. We have to write our books of magic to pass on the torch, the light that our netters, our ancestors wrote to us, right? Then we have to reevaluate and really think about this word worship, right? Like, we need to repeat it to ourselves every day. What are we worshiping, right? Because the Tamahu worshipped us, knew our power, and they are using that to create the matrix, right? We have to, this is so relevant, culturally, spiritually relevant, that we're breaking down our Saba Tahuti's book of stepping out of the matrix so that we get into the dimension of worshiping the true light. We got to get back to that light, and that's what we're doing, and it's so important. So I really love the dedication that you put in your teaching tonight, and I'll pass. I'm taking up a lot of airspace.
Tahuti Most.
AJ, appreciate the airspace, brother. Appreciate the airspace. I just want to say this one thing, which I think is very important. I want to say this one thing I think is very important that Scribe said during his presentation is this, and be mindful of this. Don't sleep on this. Don't sleep on the Tomahawk. Because when you look at Alexander, what did you say, Scribe? Alexander was more of into Kemet than a lot of people today in 2022, so-called melanated people. So what I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Tomahawk, and that you can actually learn something from the Tomahawk because the Tomahawk took it from us first. You see what I'm saying? So for us to reverse engineer it, you're gonna have to be close to the Tomahawk in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because they're and I think authors like Budge and you remember Saba Tahuti telling us, look, man, he got mad adoration for Budge, but Budge was 0% a believer in Ma'at, but yet his publishing, his books, like you talked about, AJ, spot on. And guess what? And guess what Budge is? If you didn't know, he's the Tomahawk. You see what I'm saying? So again, don't sleep on the Tomahawk. We can learn from them. We can learn from them because they got it from us first.
They worship us. They worship our ancestors more than us.
So, yeah, big up, Scribe. Great class. My young netter over here found it his best cartoon that he saw in a long time. So he really enjoyed it. You know, that's one of the best cartoons he's seen in a minute. You know, so yeah, big ups. You had him paying attention while he was eating on his grapes over here, my young netter. But anyway, yeah,
I seen him over there.
Don't sleep. He working on his fro too. Don't worry, he catching up to you. He working on that fro. That fro getting legit. But anyway, don't sleep on the Tomahawk. We can learn from them because they got it from us first. You know, and this is the dilemma. We put so much energy into hating the Tomahawk that we miss the picture. See what I'm saying? And that we miss, it slows us down instead of speeding us up. Because again, we got it. They got it from us. So again, in our take back mode, if you in take back mode, hey, real quick in the chat, if you in take back mode, put up a 1. Because if you in take back mode, then you're gonna have to go to the Tomahawk. You can't neglect the Tomahawk because it's gonna slow down your growth. It's gonna slow you down. So big ups. Much love, Scribe. Much love, AJ. Arcad, keep doing your thing. Hungry Lion, you know what's up.
Peace and love. Ahati. Got anything?
I love you, brother. That brother's energy is such a relief. That your passion is oh man, burning flame. Scribe, you know what it is? You deserve much praise, my young brother, because you are showing everyone that at whatever age you are, I already forgot, it's irrelevant. You put in the time, dedication, and sacrifice week after week. And I know what goes on in your personal, so that speaks volumes. Just your presentation is showing me, your presentation is showing me your love for Saba. And that's really all he's concerned about. We're not concerned about your words. So if you got up there and didn't show us anything and spoke and your words resonated like your slideshow, like your presentation did, that would be sufficient enough. Because it's about what's coming from your heart, brother. Right. You can't fake that. So I appreciate it. To piggyback a little off what Tahuti most said, and we all know this, the Tomahawk doesn't sit around with teachings and just sit around with them. He implements them. He implements the one that's going to benefit not only just the individual, but the collective. That's what the Tomahawks do. Unfortunately, we've come to a state where we're complacent with what the Tomahawk gives us, which is very little. It might seem like a lot, but it's very little. And we just sit on that. We don't take action off of it. The knowledge is great. It's fine. But again, I always reference this, and I'll reference it now. If you go to the Bremen Orion Papyrus, Creation Story A, that deals with Khepra arising out of the inertia, if Khepra stopped at that and didn't look inside his heart like the scribe did tonight and implement some action, then we wouldn't all be sitting here today. So that's the way that I live my life. I live Ma'at. I don't just speak it. I just don't read about it. I live it, because that's what this movement's about. That's what Tahuti's teachings are about. Tahuti's teachings are about breaking out of the matrix. Tahuti's teachings are about turning everyone in the chat, if you're interested, into a living netter, just like us sitting up here on the panel. And that's what makes us different from everyone else, because everyone else has been online for decades and decades and decades, and nothing has changed. It's fun and exciting to sit up here week after week and do this. It's actually very comfortable. But when it comes to putting work, the brother Scribe puts in work. So that part I appreciate a lot. I knew about Alexander. I knew about the satrap Stella. I knew how the Greeks at first came in as quote unquote friendly people. They weren't hating on us. And then they took what we had, and as the scribe showed, they began to live it. And see what happened? When the Greeks began to live what our ancestors taught, they became, quote unquote, the greatest civilization on the planet. The same civilization where their descendants now are ruling over us right now. So to me, that's show me enough. That shows me enough of what I need to know, that if I just implement a little bit of Tahuti's teaching into my life, dramatic things are going to change. Things that I want to change are going to occur. So these teachings are very powerful. And whoever's going next, excuse me, I can't remember the order. But the teaching on Ptah is even more powerful, because now Ptah is dealing with what Tahuti always talks about in his podcast, which is sound vibration and frequencies. And what you can do with that is the true magic. And what you can implement with it will change not only your life, but will change those that are around you, that might be causing you stress, that might be agitating you, that might be annoying you. And that's a beautiful thing, because if these teachings didn't do anything in my personal life, I wouldn't follow Tahuti. I'll just say that straight up. If Tahuti was just presenting me the knowledge and nothing was changing in my life, I would have left a long time ago. And that's just me. Because I'm a man of action, and I have to see what you're telling me can be implemented, not only in your life, but in mine too. Because sitting up here with these brothers, we are a collective. We are together. We all have love for one another, and we all have each other's backs. And to me, that means more than anything on this planet, is when I can look at another sister or a black man in the face, like the scribe, and know that he has my back. So scribe, again, great job, brothers, peace. And the rest of you brothers, come up here, show face, join us. We're about looking
And
at
sisters.
each other. And sisters. Sisters, you don't have to be afraid. Even sisters from the past, you don't have to be afraid. You could jump up here and share your story with us.
Yeah, peace. Join us. Come into can we put
Here
the
we go.
link into the chat?
Yeah, the link is pinned to the top of the chat.
That's what's up. Ahati, I'm next. I'm next week.
Yeah, he's gonna pick the baton up
Okay.
and take off with it.
You already know, family.
Shembo Shane, hop on, brother.
Peace and love to you, Shimbo Shane. Peace and love to Shimbo Shane, my brother from the
Peace.
same mother. Peace and love, Shimbo Shane.
Peace and love.
Peace, conscious conqueror.
Conscious Conqueror, what's up?
Peace. Enjoy.
Okay.
I'm cool, man. I'm cool. Just chilling here in the Caribbean, listening to some great teachings, man.
Nice.
Can't believe
Welcome,
Scribe doing so well, boy. I learned something new tonight with those. Peace.
Thank you, my
What's
brother.
up? What's up?
Yeah, Scribe stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, that was an interesting that was some interesting information there with the 15 missing books of the so-called original Bible.
Absolutely.
And it was even more. Yeah, boy. You went in depth tonight, boy, scribe.
Yes, that's definitely an important thing for us to know and understand. Especially if we're gonna call this the word of God. If we're gonna call this the word of God, then we don't just want 70% of it. But I thank
Hey,
you. I appreciate you.
Conqueror, I got a question for you. On your island, right? What's the percentage of those
Yeah.
people on the island would you say is, let's just say, Christian or what's your percentage? Christian, Catholic? What's the percentage on the island?
Right. All right. Well, in Trinidad, we're very cosmopolitan. We're mixed. We have a lot of Hindus, Muslims, and Christians. We're very mixed. They call us the Rainbow Island. So they have I will say about 60 or about 50% Christian and 25% Muslim and 25% Hindu.
Interesting.
You heard me there, or the cars was making? You heard me?
Yeah, we heard you.
Yeah, we are mixed. It's a mixed race in Trinidad. It's like our politics. The two parties is like one party is predominantly, you can say, black, and the next party is predominantly East Indian. So it's a very down here very mixed. We have a lot of holidays. We have like the second most holidays in the world, like Diwali and Eid. We have Muslim holidays, Hindu holidays, Christian holidays, and then for Carnival.
Carnival,
the Christians,
yes. Like Brazil, like Brasileiro.
Well, like Brazil, but it is a competition. Who had the first carnival? And they say it's Brazil, and some say Trinidad.
Who parties
but
the hardest,
Brazil
right?
definitely. Well, yeah. Well, Brazil take it to the next level, But Trinidad, we create a lot of things. Remember, we have soca here. Then we created steel pan, calypso. We have a lot of history in Trinidad. Actually, I think Pan Africanism. I think one of the major foundation members of Pan Africanism was a Trinidadian. I forget his name. And then real history. I could talk a lot about Trinidad. Yeah. But the more important thing, I have
a quick question. The sound that we're hearing, greetings, brother. The sound that we're hearing in the background is similar to the sound that I hear at night in Jamaica. Is that the frogs? What is that sound?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I always forget that. Yeah, people always talk about that's frogs. Yeah, the back of my yard is a kind of jungle.
Nature.
Yeah. We in a valley here called Diego Martin. Well, so it have frogs all around making noise. Yeah, those little baby frogs. Yeah, that's what making the noise. You hearing it on the speaker, on the microphone.
Yeah, we can hear it. I can hear it really well. Plus, I go to Jamaica a lot, so I'm used to. I'm picking up because I'm familiar.
Oh yeah, well Jamaica for sure. Jamaica's about 3 times the size of Trinidad. It's bigger than Trinidad. Yeah. Blue Mountain. When you go to Jamaica, they say, "What a guan, brethren, I and I, Rastafari." Yeah. I actually was I live close to a 12 tribe headquarters, which is similar to Hebrew Israelites with the same 12 tribe chart. Like I know I'm a Reuben because I born in the month of April. I know Ahatimat probably knows about that as well.
What'd you just say? Repeat that, man. You said what?
12 tribe of Israel is a Rastafarian faith.
Yes.
The headquarters are very close to where I live now, so I know a lot of 12 tribe Rastas.
You should drop. You should
And
make flyers of our show and drop that off at the headquarters there.
yeah, and
See
show
what they
them.
say.
Yeah, for sure.
And wait there. No, stand there and hand out the flyers to them and ask them, what do you think about ancient Egypt? Do you think that's where blacks originated at? And see their reaction.
For sure. I should really do that. Expose the truth, you know. I should start to walk around with a big unk on my chest and stepping out of the Matrix poster.
So you said you're from the tribe of Reuben?
Yeah, according to 12 tribe, right? Because I'm born in the month of April, I'm the tribe of Reuben, which is the eyes, or similar to like Aries in astrology, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the color is silver.
You said
So
according
to the
calendar?
According to they go by the Bible. They go by
the Bible calendar.
Yeah, they just they go by the 12 tribes like Reuben, Simeon, Dan, Naphtali, Benjamin.
You said it's based on when you're born though, like what month you're born in.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's based on what month you're born in, so it's similar to the zodiac. It's similar to the Western zodiac.
Okay, so like Hebrew calendar are you going by?
Well, they don't say Hebrew calendar. It's just 12 tribes of Israel. It's just
what month do you go? How do you know what month you're going by if you're not going by a calendar?
Oh well, is when you're born. What month you're born? What month you're born?
Oh, okay. So they're going by the Gregorian calendar.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so it's not a Hebrew calendar. It's not a Hebrew calendar, right?
Oh well, see, I don't know much about Hebrew. I was assuming it's similar. No?
Right. Gregorian is what? Roman? Yeah, I believe it's Roman.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They go by the modern day calendar.
Okay, so the thing is though, they're calculating these months by the modern calendar and not a Hebrew calendar, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's by the 1st to the 31st. Not like how astrology is from the 21st to the 21st or the 19th to the 21st. They go by the 1st to the 30th, the first of the month to the 1st of the next month, which really makes sense.
It makes sense that they're not going by the Hebrew calendar; they're going by the modern calendar.
Yeah, and they're Rastafarians, because I have different types of Rastafarians. There's Bobo Shanti, Nyabingi, 12 tribe, like Sizzla Kalanji. Bobo Shantis believe in Emmanuel. So they say,
You know what's interesting? Scribe just did a whole expose on the Greeks tonight, on the Ptolemy specifically. Right. And Reuben is a Greek name.
Okay, that's
so
the first.
We have a Greek name from from the Hebrew 12 tribes that's going by a modern day calendar that's not a Hebrew calendar.
Wow. Okay. Well, Bob Marley was 12 tribe. He was the same 12 tribe. Bob Marley.
Yes, Bob Marley, the great Bob Marley. People try to sometimes say I'm Bob Marley. Marley.
You look like Rohan Marley, his son who has the coffee business.
I used to listen to Stephen Marley. I used to love Stephen Marley. He had this one
Stephen
album.
Marley.
I can't remember.
Yeah. He and Damien.
But here's the deal, brother. What I'm trying to still figure out is the 12 tribe chart. I'm from the tribe of Reuben, which is a Greek name, and I'm going by the Gregorian calendar, not a Hebrew calendar. How do I know it's calculated? How do I know exactly that I'm Reuben according to a calendar that has nothing to do with my culture?
Well, I think it's kind of like they're mixing astrology with Christianity. I think that's what it is. And they don't really know it either.
Okay, so it's not dealing with the Hebrews.
No, it's not.
Okay.
There have a lot of religions came out of Christianity. People they have Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness,
Right.
There's so much different interpretations of the Bible, and all of them fighting one another, which makes no sense.
Doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Because they all worship the same God.
Supposedly.
Yep. Same.
No, they do.
Same
The
God.
same God is Yahweh.
Same God. Yeah. They just
Same God is Yahweh.
they just call them by different names, and
Yes,
some say
yes.
Emmanuel. Yeah. Some say Emmanuel. Some say Jehovah, because that's where they get Jah. Jah Rastafari. Rastafari was Selassie's name. He was Rastafari.
You know what's interesting about Kemet is all of us on the panel here would have different. We wouldn't exactly follow to the letter your belief or my belief, but we all followed the same God. We all followed Ma'at. So Arcad would be
Right.
doing his thing in South Africa, or what's called South Africa today. I would be doing my thing up in Karnak. But we all, when it came down to it, we all followed Ma'at. What's interesting today is that the Hebrews, the Christians, the Muslims, they all follow the same God, but they have different. They don't follow it specifically together. They have different ideologies, isn't it? So it's like they went into Kemet. Everything is just plagiarized. They're following the same pattern of Kemet, and
Yeah.
now they just call it by a different name. Whereas it'd be
Yeah.
easier if the brothers would just come and sisters would come back to Kemet, and they could still do the same thing they're doing in Christianity, except now they're not just following a Yahweh that we can't figure out where is this being. There's no image of him, and there's no evidence.
Yeah.
So.
But this movement right here is the real movement, because this is the
This movement right
original.
here? This movement right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Our movement, the Tahuti's movement, teachings of the where everything came from, the origins of everything, right?
Did you sign up for membership with Tahuti?
Oh no, how do you do that?
Okay, Tahuti Most will leave his actually go to leadership at teachingsamat.org, leadership at teachingsamat.org, and send us an email there and tell them you want to sign up for a membership. Because you just said this is
All
our
right,
movement.
I will do
You
that.
included yourself in it, and you're
Well,
not a member yet.
Yeah. I'm not a member
Do
yet.
you
No.
have
Well,
you signed up for the newsletter?
nope. I ain't signed up for anything. I see. I have to work on. I have to work on my I don't have a credit card or way to pay online. That's what I'm working on. I don't have access to that as yet.
Uh-huh.
Brother,
That's my problem.
we're not just looking for money. I want to make
Right.
that clear to the chat room and everybody that will listen to this in the future. We are not just looking for money. We understand that we live in Tamahu land and it's hard to acquire it for us. So we're looking for service. We're looking for you to sacrifice some time.
Yeah.
So
Anything I can do. If
Conscious Conquer, you're saying it on camera right now. You said our movement. You said you're gonna sign up, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Long
you
as
sound confident there.
is it free to sign up right now, or after? Is it some? Or
On account of me, yes, and then we can work something
all
out.
right. Okay.
And then we can
Yeah.
work something.
I just have to. Yeah. What happened is I have some. Yeah. I don't have a credit card right now.
Yeah, don't worry about that right now. Just if you want to sign up, sign up. If you don't sign up. But I heard you
want to
say
sign up.
our movement, so it sounds like you want to be a part of it.
Yeah. I'm whenever it has any kind of like Sanetta and Garfield, I'm normally the one. I'm normally the one. Defending Tahuti, you know. I the
That's
one who's be
great.
defending Tahuti, telling them, hey, when Sanetta calling Jabari the Mayweather of the conscious community, I said, how he can be the Mayweather when he lose against Tahuti? Tahuti is the real Mayweather.
Yeah, because Tahuti takes action. He's living it.
And
when
he
go,
never lost.
When their cameras go off, they turn on the Lakers and all these other And I'm not condemning sports if you watch sports and all that, but Tahuti
Yeah.
lives it. That's the difference.
Yeah, boy.
That's the difference.
He lives it, boy. He love like he born for this, boy.
Hey,
Here you
conscious
go, Conscious
conqueror.
Conqueror.
Look, it's all you gotta do. Like, go to the website teachingsofmyart.org. First thing you need to do
Right.
is just scroll all the way to the bottom. See where it says subscribe right here. Put your email address in
Yeah.
here. Put your email address in here and sign up. That's free. You know, and then just to contact us, if you whenever you get that, you can respond back to that, or you can just go over here to more and go to contact us, and here's the email address. So just email us, you know. So just email us so we can.
The link's in the chat, so there's no excuse. Conscious
Right.
Conqueror.
No excuses. No excuses.
No, brother, we got to stop making excuses, right? I mean, if you want money tonight, and I say, "Hey, Conscious Conqueror, I got a hustle going on right now. You guaranteed to make 20,000 right now tonight. I wave 10,000 in the camera like a lot of these brothers do on IG. You're gonna be at my house. You're gonna fly. You're gonna find some way to get out here. And I'm talking like this, all excited to have you. You're gonna come. You're gonna come. But
I'm going to fly like the wings of my ass and come over there.
Here's the key, though, brother. What we're giving you lasts for eternity.
Yes, I.
That's the difference. And even though you don't have the material what you want, it doesn't mean that you won't ever have it. Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, the scribe came out here this weekend. I don't know how he did it, but he made it happen. And he made it happen on his own. We didn't even ask him to come out, and he came out on his own. So there's always a way.
Yeah, boy.
And this is for you, matter of fact, because
There's
we're
a will,
teaching
there's a
about
way.
your ancestors,
Facts.
brother. This is for you. I feel like he's gonna sign up right when this goes off. He's gonna click that link. He's gonna sign up.
I do too. I think
One time, no crime.
That's right. I think
Quick.
your brother Cash
quick as he
Peter, I
would.
think he's gonna email us too and say he wants to join. I think he's gonna hit it. You know, I think he's definitely wanting to join us.
Cash Peden's in the Medu class, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Manifesto as well.
Definitely.
I think he's ready. I think he's ready to join us. You know, we got some great brothers here. You know,
And I want to say something to those of you that are out there that call yourself mixed or mulatto or whatever you're calling yourself, biracial and all these Tomahawk divisional terms.
I'm triracial. I have everything.
What was that?
I'm triracial. I have Indian, black. My children are native. I have everything except Chinese. I think my children have Chinese, so I'm United Nations right here.
Hey,
everything
I
under the
remember
sun.
that term, man. For back in the day, brothers would say that. Oh, he's United Nations. That's United Nations, brother. What I'm trying to say here is that there's only two races. There's us and the Tomahawk. So I don't care if you're calling yourself Asian or Vietnamese or Haitian or tri-Asian or tri-racial or whatever. This is a place you can come to and belong. Okay?
Believe that.
We don't have to be divided anymore or separate ourselves.
Yeah. Cash Pete. Yeah, I wasn't talking about coming up on the panel, Cash Pete, and I was talking about joining the movement. You know, emailing us saying, "Hey, I want to join the organization." You know, that's what I was speaking of. You know, because we could definitely use your energy, my brother. You know, you're definitely a brother of my eye and truth. You know, so just come join us, man, so we can continue to keep expanding. You know, us five, we're gonna keep doing it, but you know, you don't want to be on the outside looking in forever. You know, come join us.
Hey, Scribe, our question for what the teachings they had tonight, right? The Isaiah scroll, right? What it was, the Book of the Dead. It was the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Isaiah scroll. When you were saying it was 1,000 years older than any other Hebrew scroll, that's what it was. They were saying, I think.
Which one are you talking about? The Book of the Dead, the Isaiah scroll,
the one that they found in 1940 something in Kushan, by the one that they found recently, and they said it was that dates back to the original so-called Hebrew scrolls. It was interesting
The
that they said that
Isaiah
was 1,000
scroll.
years. Yeah, they were saying that it was 1,000 years older than where they got where the so-called Hebrew scrolls came from. I was trying to figure like how that was so much older now than. But anyway, I will play back the video and check it out. That was really interesting. I have to watch this. I have to watch this video again. It was really good tonight, though.
Yeah, and just message me which one you're exactly talking about, because I don't know which one you're referring to, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of information in there.
Yeah, boy.
And there's all sources, like, so I put sources to where you can go directly to find these things too on there. So
I'll check it out. Yeah, that was interesting that they found the this thing just recently in the last century, and it's way older than where the Septuagint got the so-called Hebrew Bible from. Now that was interesting. It's some kind of fishy.
Oh, the Dead Sea Scrolls.
The Dead Sea Scrolls, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, most
and they were saying that, is 1,000 years older than what they had. That's crazy though. So the oldest source that the Hebrews have is something that they found just last century.
Exactly.
That's crazy though. So like 200 years like before that, they didn't have anything that old. So anyway,
right. The oldest that they had was the Aleppo Codex.
Right. Way the foundation and sand, boy. Yeah.
It's the Matrix, man. That's the Matrix. No, that's the name of the book. Stepping out of the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Stepping out of the Matrix.
All right. Is anybody else gonna jump on, or is that it?
Yeah, let's see. Who in the chat? Let's see. Carolina, you gonna jump on the panel? Come jump on the panel. Angela Hollis, are you still here? Let's jump on the panel. Come build with us.
I have a small reservation, and I'm definitely willing to help.
That's awesome. That's great.
Wonderful.
All right, so it don't look like appreciate you, Conscious Conqueror, for jumping on. You're consistent with jumping on with us. So let's just make it official and become a member. Become a member.
Sure.
Come join us.
For Shankle, my uncle, I'll be a member. For Shizzlemanism. For sure. Quick as the word, rapid as the response. That's what we say down here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming up, Conscious Conqueror. If no one else is going to come,
you're welcome.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate the consistency and the support.
Mm-hmm.
Any of you other brothers got anything else to share? Any announcements before we close out?
That is it, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Again, everybody, I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for coming out. I would like to tell everyone to join us and check out our website, teachingsofmaat.org. Again, that is teachingsofmaat.org. Join us every Friday for Tahuti's podcast, Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Gotta give the Eastern time. And Monday Metal Netta class. Of course, join us every Sunday for our Stepping Out of the Matrix book study. And if no one else is going to come up, we're going to end it. Good brother Scribe put up our affirmation. Appreciate all the support, all the donators. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Unki Ma'at, Un-Ns, Nintet Aset Ma'at, Min Hapapet Ma'at, Her In Kukui, Per Iku. I live for Ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Peace and love, everybody. Great breakdown, Scribe. And next week will be AJ. Netta, formerly known as AJ, will be presenting next week.
Yes, yes.
Peace and love, everybody. Hotep Ma'at.
Hotep Ma'at. Peace and love.
What's up?